Good morning, everybody. Good morning or good afternoon, depending upon where you are joining me from. How are you? I will wait until a few people get on here. How are y'all doing? Just checking in on y'all. How are y'all doing today? It's been a heck of a week. It's been a heck of a week. And my daughter will be calling me right now. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Hey, hello? Yeah. I'm on a live. Let me text me, okay? All right. Bye. Sorry about that, y'all. Good morning, everybody. Let me start over. Good morning. Come on in the chat, say hello. How are y'all doing? This is just a check in. We've had a heck of a week, a heck of a week. And I just want to encourage you all to not panic. And when I say that, like a lot of things I'm seeing in online, in social media, in expat groups, people are definitely panicking. They are panicking. I understand. I get it. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Tanisha Mercer. I help Black women solo travel and move abroad. In 2023, in 2022, I moved to Paris, France. So I've been in Paris almost 2.5 years unofficially. I officially made the big move in January of 2023. But one of the things I'm seeing online in online spaces since Tuesday is this sense of panic. I get it, but I'm telling you, moving abroad requires some planning. The one thing I don't want you to do is get out here and panic and then have to like spin your wheels and have to move back. It is best to begin to plan. It is best to plan, not to panic. I get it. I know with the thought of a Trump America that everyone is freaking out. I am joining you from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm visiting. I go back to France next week. So I am seeing people just in person, online. There is a sense of dread. There is a sense of panic. There is a sense of, I have to get out of here right now, like today. That might be one of the worst things you can do. The reason why I'm saying that, hi there, latest facts. The reason why I'm saying that is that moving abroad does take some planning. It takes some work, okay? It takes some work. I don't know how, there is no other way that you can go around that. It takes some work, and it is not a rash decision. I want you to plan to move successfully. If you want to move abroad, if you want to travel abroad, I want you to do that successfully, right? I want you to do that successfully. I don't want you to just make this rush decision, because it is a decision to move abroad. Don't let nobody tell you otherwise. You have to figure out where you want to go. You got to figure out when you want to leave, what country, what city, how are you going to make income there. You've got visa requirements you may have to meet. Latest facts, I am originally from Detroit, Michigan. I moved to Paris from Atlanta, Georgia. You've got all these things that you have to think about. What are you going to do with your stuff? Okay. I know if you in America, you got stuff. You got stuff on stuff on stuff on top of stuff. So what are you going to do with your stuff? Right? Because you can't take it all with you. And I'm seeing people in these groups talking about, how do I move my car to my new country? Baby, leave that car. Sell that car, okay? Give it to one of your family members. Keep it. Can a family member keep it? Can a family member use it? Can you rent that car out to somebody? The last thing you want to do is bring a 4-ton vehicle to your new country. Why? Because most of the time you are going to have to get that vehicle retrofit. It is not, you just can't transport a vehicle from the US to Europe, for example. Okay, it's all kind of stuff that goes into that. Now it does depend on the country you're coming from. Now, if you go into Mexico, that might be a little bit different. Okay, it's a hop, skip, and a jump. But for most of these countries, you are not going to want to spare the expense of shipping the vehicle, of retrofitting the vehicle. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Is it I don't want to mess up your name. Um, Sarba Yapi? I apologize. Hello, how are you? You don't want to spend the cost of, like, yeah, that vehicle is going to cost you so much money to transport. I'm seeing people saying, I want to take all my stuff. Do y'all know how much money you spending bringing all your stuff to your new country, wherever it is you're trying to go to? Hey, Beverly Hills. It's yeah. Thank you, Dee Dee. Thank you so much. I'm hearing this sense of panic, and I just want to tell everybody, like, hold on, y'all. Like, I get you want to go. I listen. I totally get it. I get it's a Trump America, but I want y'all to be successful. I want you to be successful in moving. I do not want you to panic. It's going to take you a little bit to figure out. Maybe you've got some countries already in mind. You need to have at least your top 3 to 5 countries that you want to move to. At least have an idea. Because, baby, you could be going anywhere, but you need to have an idea of where you want to go. Didi, you're going to India. Congratulations. Where is it that I want to go visit in India? It starts with a G. I can't remember the name of it. It's an island. Congratulations, Dee Dee. Get out there and see the world. But you really want. I'm seeing people who are like, I want to move. I don't know where. I need y'all to start over. Start over. I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you. Start over. You need to have a general idea of where you want to go. At least your top 5, okay? But I'm seeing people in these groups like, help, I want to go. I don't know where. Everything don't work for everybody. Every country don't work for everybody. I found my place in Paris, France, right? You need to find your place or places wherever you want to go. Maybe you want to bop around. Maybe you want to go from one place to the other. I knew for me that I wanted to go to Paris because I had been traveling there since 2017 extensively, right? I knew that I wanted to go to a place where I would be able to move around easily. That was a big requirement for me. I did not want to be um, you know, 20 hours or a day and a half from my family. Hey, Miguel. I didn't want to be like, 2 days away from the U.S. Um, my family is still in the U.S. I wanted to be like 10 hours or less from the U.S. So, and I also wanted to, the place that I moved to, I wanted to travel from. All of those things make a difference. Every country does not work for everybody. And we're doing this thing of shaming people of where they want to go. Maybe you want to go to Cape Town. You like it. I love it. Okay. Maybe you want to go to Ghana. Maybe you want to go to whatever country, whatever brings you peace. Know that one country is not going to work well for everybody. In these groups, I'm seeing people fighting, like they are windmilling over where people decide to go with their lives. Please know that where you go may be a personal decision. It may not work well for everybody. One person may have a family, so they need to think about different things. Another person may have aging parents. They may not be able to move 8, 9 hours away. They may want to do a lot of different things. One thing doesn't work well for everybody. Decide where you want to go and stand on business. Okay? Stand on business on where you want to go. Figure out where you want to go. Research the visa requirements. Yes, there are going to be visa requirements if you plan to stay in the country longer than about 30 to 90 days. Okay, there are going to be some things you're going to have to think about. Some countries it's easier to get a visa than others. Okay, you can quickly go to Mexico for the most part. They'll, for the most part, give you a 6-month temporary stay. You can apply for a permanent residency. You have to do the research yourself because visa requirements change every year. Okay, every year visa requirements change. Speaking of Mexico, they used to have a very low minimum USD requirement. Now I think it's about five. You've got to make 5,000 or more a month to qualify for a residency. You can still get the visa for the most part as a U.S. citizen if you are a U.S. citizen. It just depends. But again, all these countries have different requirements. South Africa has a new digital nomad visa, right? You've got countries. You've got cities in Turkey where you can get a visa. There are some requirements. There are going to be some requirements. Hold on. What is Miguel in here doing? Let me hide his stuff. See, you know what? People just act up. People act up. Um Now, somebody in here, I see what you did, Miguel. I see exactly what you did. Hold on. Let me block him real quick. Let me hide his comments on this channel. So yeah, all of those are going to be hidden. We are not doing that in here today. I just don't get it. I don't get why people will come to a YouTube channel for black women, act like they're supportive. I saw what you put on there. I saw what you put on there. I mean, it's ridiculous. We're going. I mean, just rude. Came in here like he was so supportive, and I see exactly what he did. So listen, so he's been hidden and he's been blocked. This is a community that is a safe space for black women, okay? So Miguel, or whoever that was, I don't really believe your name was Miguel. Maybe it is. Maybe you were one of the ones who voted for Trump to be in office. So you don't need to be in this space anyway. Hey, Entropia 8, how are you? We're gonna move beyond that rudeness because that's just unacceptable. But I want y'all, especially black women, to not panic. I want y'all to take a breath. Take a breath, right? Don't panic. Figure out where it is that you want to go. If you have a general idea, great. If you don't have a general idea, it's time to do your research. You cannot get around doing research. I'm seeing so many people in these groups, and groups are meant to be great for information. It's meant to be great for learning about different perspectives. There may be areas that you haven't thought of, right? That you're like, oh, this person has moved there. I might want to think about that. But there is no replacement for homework and research. I hate to break it to you. Nobody's going to do all of the homework and research for you. You're going to have a general idea of where you might want to go. Okay, so once you have that general idea of where you want to go, now some people will move to a place sight unseen. I don't personally believe in doing that. I spent 5 years going back and forth to France, right, back and forth to Paris, before I made the decision to move in what year, 2022. Okay, and then I'm just going to tell you my journey of what I did. Maybe you can learn from that. What I did was I made the decision to finally move after 5 years of talking about it, right? 5 years of traveling back and forth. I finally made the decision to move. I then figured out which area I wanted to go to. Did I want to go to the south of France? For me, that was a no. I wanted to go to the Paris metro area. Then I looked at, okay, this is where I want to go. How much money am I going to need in that place? What are the visa requirements? Will I need a visa? Okay. Can I bop around? I originally had planned to go bop around. I was going to go from France to the UK, which the requirements are different in the UK. As an American, I think you have up to 6 months in the UK. I quickly abandoned that plan because I was moving in the dead of winter, and going to London in the middle of the winter was not a good idea for me. I didn't want to do it. Hey, Susie, I did not want to do it. So I quickly had to decide, like, I need a visa. So you're going to need to know the visa requirements of whatever place you want to move to. If you are an American citizen, sure, you oftentimes have a certain window of time to be able to visit a place. But if you're going to stay there permanently, you're going to need a visa. If you want to do things like have a long-term rental, you're probably going to need a visa. If you want to do things like have a cell phone provider, turn your lights on, electricity, whatever, Wi-Fi, you probably are going to need a visa. So know that in advance, right? Know that requirement in advance. These countries are going to want to know if you just chilling here or what are you planning on doing. Now, if you planning on just chilling, you can easily get you an Airbnb. Okay, you can let somebody else take care of all of that, get you an Airbnb and be good. If not, you are probably going to have to look into the visa requirements. What are the income requirements, right? Is there a minimum number of days of staying? A lot of people had looked into Portugal at one point, or are looking into Portugal. Portugal has minimum stay requirements. I think it's like 180 plus days a year. They want you to remain in that country, right? More than half of the year. Because if you are in a country longer than 180 days, you are now a tax resident, right? Um, Entropia. Did I speak French prior to moving? She is the question. Listen, I did not speak French prior to moving. I am learning French still. it is a struggle for me, but I am learning French. I finally hired a tutor. I after being I know words and phrases. I know words and phrases that I need to get to, do my daily life. But am I fluent? No, I'm not. I highly suggest for people, if you know you are planning, don't let language stop you. Move anyway, because it definitely is an immersion, right? You are immersed in the local language. Don't let not knowing the language stop you. However, if you know in 3 months that you want to move to, let's say, whatever country it is, let's say Mexico, start on listen, get on your Spanish before you leave. Okay, get on whatever language of that country it is before you leave. It will help you immensely, because most people want to see you make an effort, right? They want to see you make an effort, and it will be easier for you if you know the language. I know for me, it would be much easier for me if I knew the language. It's easier to make friends, it's easier to do your business, okay? I'm at the point now to where I understand more. I can't always respond back. I'm taking French lessons. My plan is to be in France. My plan is to get the 5-year residency card. I am a few years away from that. There is a language requirement. Again, these visa requirements change every year, right? The French are putting more rules into play that state that you must have a minimum language requirement if you want a residency visa. Okay, so for that visa, there are some minimum requirements. So I highly, don't make the mistake I made. Okay, um, learn the learn the basic language. It's not it while you're still in the US. I highly recommend YouTube, Netflix in the language that you're trying to learn. You need to soak that up. Duolingo works well for some people. Do all the things in advance so that you're not going from like ground zero when you reach your country. It will be so much easier for you if you know the language. Okay, they already know that you are not from that area. We stand out, right? Our clothes, our demeanor, they know we're not from there. But learn the language. It will definitely help you a lot. Those are the things that I wish that I had done. I wished I had learned more of the language. So learn the language. But yeah, Entropia, I'm not fluent. I don't know what my level is, but I am not fluent. Yeah, I really did move to France not knowing the language, and it has been an experience. I'm learning every day. I don't let not knowing the language stop you. But yeah, you really need to find out what the visa requirements are of the place that you want to go. There are so many things you need to do, most likely before you move. Again, what are you going to do with your stuff? What are you going to do for online income? Can you move your job? Do you have a business? What can you do to make money? Interpret French is really hard. French is hard as I don't know what. I'm like, I should have learned this 30 years ago. But yeah, French is hard. It is. It's hard. Um, Listen, go to where did you move to, Entropia? What French speaking country did you move to? I'm curious to know. Yeah, French is difficult. You already know. There are some days I'm just like, Lord have mercy. I don't know if I can do this, but I keep moving on. Right, every day I'm learning every single day. I'm learning something every single day. Canada. So you moved to Quebec? Did you move to Quebec or Montreal? And they claim I've heard that they don't speak the same type of French that they do in like Paris, but at least you aren't at like ground zero. Um, yes, I being from Detroit, we were literally, if you're in downtown Detroit, you're like 10 minutes away from Canada, Windsor, Ontario, Canada. Like my mom lives 3.5 hours away from Toronto. Um, like Canada to visit, but to live there, ooh, I don't know if I could do it. It's the accent, and I have a hard enough time with the French accent. Okay, so I know that it would be a lot for me, because even now, me hearing it, I can understand the written French easier, but hearing it is two different things, and it's that accent, and we know the French how they are about their accents, right? We know how they are about their accents. So yeah, I get it. I get it. I definitely get it. But thank you for sharing that area. You think the Parisians a nicer accent? I don't know. I know I can't roll them. I can't do them R's. Me and the R's have a hard time. We struggle every single day. Cannot quite get the R's right. Um, don't know where the accent mark is supposed to go, where it's supposed to go, why. I just yeah. It's a lesson. It's a lesson every single day. Every single day. Hey, Dee Dee is back. But yeah, you listen. So you've moved once. You can all you for anybody. You know, if you've done it once, you can do it again. I always like to encourage people. Entropia, making friends and socializing. Um, you know what? That is one thing. I don't know if where you were before, if it's like Paris or whatever. I find that in Paris, especially, the culture is one where making friends is difficult. In French culture, it's difficult. I've heard that other parts of France are different, but as a quote unquote expat, immigrant, whatever you want to call it, yeah, language is a huge barrier. I have a couple of French friends. They tend to be people who love the U.S., or they tend to be people who are not from other countries but living in France, or they're from the countries where France colonized. So yeah, culturally, I find that it would have been easier for me if I spoke the language. It is a barrier because essentially, with the French, at least in the area that I'm in, it is difficult to make friends. You don't get the small talk, that does not happen. All right, so that's number one barrier. Number two, they are slow to make friends. So I don't know if where you were it was different, but the language issue is a barrier. They don't make friends fast, right? They just don't do it. Culturally, it's very, very different. And so I'm just, it's like I'm accepting of that. You have to be. And it's not like the US. It's just not. So I have to make adjustments, right? Especially for the French. Feel like you are in France, you must do like the French do. And so I have no choice but to make those adjustments. So yeah, for me, making friends and socializing, I do a lot of expat friendly activities. I am friends with expats in France. I am friends with Black American women in France, but French people, very few, very few. I am high to a lot of people, but far as friends, no. No, it's very, very different. Now, once you make a friend in France, they are friends. They your friend, but it's the challenge of making them. And I talk to people, variety of races, variety of ages, people who have been there for tens of years, 10, 15, 20 years, and they can count on one hand the number of friends that they have in like in Paris. So yeah, it's not just me, because I had to figure that out. Like, dang, is it just me? What's going on? I'm a sociable person, very much an extrovert, and it's difficult for me because feeling that, for me, that feeling of like illiteracy. I'm not used to going places and out talking and reading and doing all that stuff. So it's very difficult. So I got to up my language game. I'm going back next week. I'll start my classes again. I have virtual classes. And so I'll start class again this week. And yeah, the language is definitely a barrier. Definitely a barrier. But yeah, I mean, it's important that you consider all these things when you're moving abroad. I'll just be honest with you. Some countries are just more friendlier than others. They are. I hate to say it. They are. Culturally, things are different. And this is the reason why you don't want to rush into this decision. Yes, you can move. You don't have to. You can go somewhere. If you don't like it, you can move, right? You can move. But if you want to do it the smart way, the right way, I am urging people not panic. I'm urging people think about it very carefully of where you want to go. Consider all the factors. Don't like pour this huge amount of time into research, because you can definitely do, what do they call it, like you're paralyzed by all this research and you never make a decision. So make your decision, but know that you need to do your research. Okay, what is the cost of living? How much money do you have? Are you moving with? What will you be considering getting a job where you're going to? For many Americans, that is a cultural shock, because I'm here to tell you, you are not going to make the same amount of money. Okay, for the most part. What does housing look like in the area where you're planning to move? Your expenses, what is that going to look like? Go on sites like numbeo.com, and it's numbeo.com. You can go on that site and compare prices. You can look at what a gallon of milk is, how much is 4 sticks of butter, what a dozen of eggs is, what is rent, what is transportation. You can compare them for different cities and different metro areas, right? Because not only does it matter the city you're moving to, it matters the region, right? I could live outside of Paris for way cheaper. So all these things you need to take into consideration. Where do you want to go? Who is in the areas where you are moving to? Now I could move to an area in rural France for half the cost of what I'm paying now. But for me, diversity is important. And I don't want to move to an area where I'm going to need a car, okay? Because I don't drive here. So those are all things you have to, those are those little things you got to keep in mind. There are some things you're not going to find out until you move. You're just not going to find out until you move. I want your move to be successful. Okay, if you're looking at moving abroad, I want it to be successful. I don't want you to panic. Please don't panic. You got to put in work on the front end. Got to put in some work on the front end. You're welcome, Entropy. I'm happy to share my experience. Are there any other questions that you guys have about moving abroad? Again, I just don't want I don't want y'all to panic. Please do not panic. Let's do this smartly, right? Let's do this the right way. Do it the right way. Do your research. Figure out where you want to go. Figure out your income. Everything varies for everybody. Maybe you got a pot of money. Maybe you have a 401k. Maybe you're already retired. Maybe your retirement income can stretch in the country you're planning on moving to. For me, I'll be 50 years old in a couple of weeks. I am 12 years away from early retirement, God willing, right? I know that the amount of money that I'm going to retire on is enough for me to live in Paris right now, at the way things currently stand, the way their requirements are currently. The requirements for most Americans, well, the requirements in general, is that you must make more than the minimum wage of a French worker. That amount is like 1,400 euro, or right now about 1,700 USD per month. Okay, so as long as you're making over that, no matter what that is, whether that's retirement income, whether that's online income, whether you're working for your employer, a business, that's a relatively low amount. The French want you to come there, but they want you to be able to support yourself. France is a socialist country. They do not want more people on their socialist payrolls, okay? So that's a relatively low amount. You can compare that to Mexico, where you've got to make 5,000 USD per month. There are other countries, I think Albania and Poland are one, where or two, where you get up to a year. Now, some of those areas may not work, right? You may say, I don't want to go to Albania. You may say, I don't want to go to Poland. Maybe you want to go to Costa Rica. Costa Rica, you have to, I think, be there once a year and you're good, right? Again, South Africa has a new digital nomad visa. Madeira, Portugal, an island in Portugal, has a thriving tech community. They are encouraging people. Many of these areas, these countries, they need resources, and they also need digital nomad money. Okay, let's be clear. There is a reason why some countries have a digital nomad program and some don't. France does not have an official digital nomad visa program, but there are other countries, other places to where you may want to consider. Now your costs gonna vary. The picture I put in the caption of this video was me in Zurich, Switzerland. When I tell you Zurich is a vibe, but Zurich is an expensive vibe. Okay, it's expensive to live there. You need to know all of that going in. There are so many places you can go. Jamaica, you can go to Grand Cayman, you can go to so many places. You can go to Panama, you can go to Belize. Do your research of where you can go to Ghana. Do your research of where you want to go and visit that place. Me personally, I feel like the place you want to go, if you cannot afford to spend 1 month there on a vacation, you need to scratch that place off your list because it's probably unaffordable to you. And we have to be able to admit the places that may be unaffordable. You like it for vacation, but living there is going to be a whole different story. And also, when you're visiting, it's going to be very different than when you're living there. Okay. When you're a tourist, what do you tend to do? When you're on vacation, you are probably eating out 3 meals a day, snacks, and you go into cafes or whatever. Remember, when you move to a place, it is entirely different. Most of the time, it's going to be cheaper, but still, you need to visit a place to see if you like it. I know there are some expats out here who are like they've moved sight unseen. I don't particularly recommend that. I don't recommend that. But there's so many little things that you have to think about. If you are, let's say you're a digital nomad and you are looking at working abroad, does a time zone work in your area? Okay. Southeast Asia is extremely affordable. You can go to places in Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam, so affordable, but the time difference. If you've got US clients and you somewhere in Malaysia, I think it's a 12 hour difference. I mean, it's difficult to make that work. I'm only 6 hours away from New York, from Eastern time, and that gets to be difficult sometimes. It really does. So you need to keep all these things into consideration. I'm sorry, y'all. My son's dog is over here snoring like he worked 3 jobs. I don't know if y'all can hear him, but he's the golden retriever, and I think he has breathing issues because he is over here snoring. But anyway, you have to remember all of those little things when you're trying to keep in touch with family. You might say, "Oh, it's nothing," but when it's 6 a.m. where you are and 6 p.m. where your family is, that makes a big difference. How are you going to work? Do you have US clients, right? How to make that work? What about your own biological clock, right? It takes a while to adjust. Those are all things you got to think about, especially if you're planning on traveling back and forth a lot. Like for me, I know that I did not want to be anywhere where it would be difficult for me to get back to the US. My adult children are here, right? My mom is here, my brothers and sisters are here. I did not want to get to a place that takes me 2 days to get back. That did not work. That does not work for me in terms of living. Now, visiting is something different. Traveling is something different. But living day to day, no. I want to be able to be back to the US in like 8 to 10 hours. Because even that is difficult. So keep those things in mind of where you want to go. It varies upon your particular situation. Some of you may have aging parents. Some of you may have people you need to check on more frequently. So your places of where you may want to move are going to be perhaps different than mine. You may want to look at, again, Mexico, Grand Cayman Islands, Belize, Panama. You want to look at places, Costa Rica, Colombia, places with a close proximity to the US where you can get to in a couple of hours. You can get to the US or be on the US shores, okay? So all those things are things to kind of keep in mind of where you may want to go. You may not want to go to a New Zealand or an Australia or a South Africa, or those may not work for you and your lifestyle. So knowing what works for you is going to be very important. Everyone's life is different. What works for one does not work for others. So any other questions that you guys have? It's been 33 minutes. Also, this is also for those of you who do need a little help planning your move abroad. I'm going to put a link in the caption. Schedule a one-on-one move abroad consulting call with me. We'll get your move abroad plan together. I think I've got 185 videos on this channel talking about my move abroad experiences. For those of you who new subscribers, thank you so much. For others of you, if you want a comprehensive move abroad plan, schedule some time with me. We'll talk about your move abroad plan, how you can get it together, how you can figure out key actionable steps, right, of getting that move abroad plan together. My clients, one of the things that we always talk about is making sure that after a phone call with me or a consult with me, you've got some key actionable steps. Schedule that move abroad call. It's calendly.com/Tanisha Mercer. I will also, give me a second here. I will also put it in the chat. Um, it's a good way for you to have someone kind of go over your move abroad plan, for you to the steps you need to take to get your move abroad plan together. So I'm putting that in the chat right now. Hold on. So it's Calendly. Hold on, y'all. I'm doing this with one hand. Calendly.com uh, slash Tanisha Mercer. And don't forget the resources that I also mentioned. Numbeo is important. I don't believe in going anywhere unless you know your cost of living, right? That's going to be important. I will pin this particular message. I will put also on here numbeo.com. It's a cost comparison website. I wouldn't make a move without that site, right? It gives you pretty good information. I'll be honest with you. Pretty good information about what your local costs might look like. Numbeo.com is also in the chat. Any other questions that you guys may have? If you don't have any other questions, I'm going to hop on off of here. But don't forget, Numbeo.com, a great cost comparison website. You can compare cities, regions of any areas where you want to move. You can get costs on food, costs on services, costs on supplies, rent, childcare, a general estimation. You can kind of figure out your costs. Okay, groceries, all of that is there. Housing is all there. Also, if you're looking to book a move abroad consulting call, 1 hour. We talk about your move abroad consulting plan. If you don't have one, how you can get one, actionable steps of things that you can do to get that move abroad plan together. Calendly.com slash Tanisha Mercer. It's also in the chat. If you don't have any more questions, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. Thank you so much. Thank you, Entropia. Thank you so much. Yeah, I love Paris. There are definitely some things. Listen, you know, life in Paris is it isn't always perfect, but for me, it works. It works. It works. So thank you so much. Yeah, living there sometimes for me is like a dream because this is always a place that I've traveled to many countries, and for me, it was a place that checked all the boxes for me. So everyone has got to find that place that checks their boxes. Wherever that is for you, I encourage you to move there. Wherever brings you peace. You know, I see a lot of in these groups, people fighting back and forth about where people are going to go. Like, don't do that, right? Because you have to move to the place where you want to go, right? My place is different than your place, and your place is different than my place. I just encourage us to leave. I'm encouraging Black women out here. We've done enough. It's time that we rest. The only work I want to see us do is planning to leave, to be honest with you. We have done everything we needed to do. Folks spoke on election day. And so we just have to listen. So I'm wishing you all the best in your move abroad and your traveling adventures. Remember, it doesn't have to be a all or nothing. Maybe you want to spend 3 months out the year in another place, okay? Maybe you want to move for the winter, you want to be somewhere warm in another country. You can figure out your life and what you want to do. For some people, moving abroad full time doesn't work. For some people, moving abroad part time works. Or maybe you want to do like I did. I just began traveling there more and more and more, right? And again, figuring out, making sure this is the area that I wanted to be in. And still remember, moving abroad, it is not for the weak. It's not for the weak. So do your planning on the front end, figure out where you want to go, figure out your costs and expenses, know the visa requirements of the place you want to go, figure out what type of traveler you are. Are you a slow traveler? You want to get somewhere and sit down for a little bit? Do you want to bop around? Do you want to go around Southeast Asia? Do you want to go explore many countries in the continent of Africa? Where do you want to go? Do you want to head over to Australia, New Zealand, wherever? Okay, figure out your style. Figure it out, and then kind of move from there. Like Entropria said, she is working on it, and I encourage you guys to work on it, right? For those of you who have decided, you know what, enough is enough. Just don't. Just don't panic and make a rush decision. That's the one thing I just want to encourage you guys. Don't panic and make a rush decision. For some people, it takes them a while, but just know that there are many people who you will see on these apps, these clock apps, blue apps, whatever. And a lot of people who say they're going to move probably won't. If you are serious about moving, make sure that's not you. Okay? You may change your mind, and that's fine. But do the planning on the front end, right? It is not as, yes, it can be difficult, it can be complicated, but you definitely need to do the planning. It's not impossible, okay? It's not impossible, but I don't want to see you guys just like pack y'all suitcases up and move to some country sight unseen. You don't know if you like the place, you don't know if you like the people, you don't know if you can deal with the people. You just don't know. You just want to up and move. You can do that, but that is usually a recipe for disaster if you're moving solo. Now, if you're moving because a job is sponsoring you, maybe the military, that's different because guess what? You have a level of support. I'm saying if you out here solo dolo, okay, and you trying to figure out where you want to go, do a little bit of research. Just do your research. Put the time in. Put the time in, do your research, figure out where you want to go, figure out your income piece, figure out the visa requirements, figure out if you like that place or not. Are you going to be working? Are you going to be semi-retired? Are you going to be chilling? What are you going to be doing? But I encourage black women out here who want to move, do your homework, don't panic, also at the same time rest. The only work we should be doing is figuring out if we're going to get up out of here or not. Okay, I'm trying to stay going, but that's the only work that we need to do at this point. We've done enough. We have done enough. Rest, don't panic, and I wish you the best of luck on your move abroad and your solo travel adventures. Remember, you don't what your friend does may not be what you have to do, okay? You may want to be somewhere, start off maybe 1 month, 2 months, 3 months abroad. That's fine. Some action is better than no action at all. But I just want to encourage you, please do not panic. All right, you guys, I'm going to get ready. Enjoy the rest of your day. I will talk to you later. Have a great day. Until next time.